How's it going, everybody? Bryan Alvarez here on Wrestling Observer Live. We are here every day, Monday through Friday, noon Pacific, 3 Eastern, Sundays, 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern, Saturday mornings with Jim Valley, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 Eastern, Sundays with Andrew Zarian. And we got a lot to talk about here because it is Wednesday here on the show. And you know what that means? Tonight is AEW Dynamite. And we have a lot announced for the show. 10 segments have been announced for AEW Dynamite tonight. So we'll tell you about that, as well as last night's NXT. Last night's NXT. New tag team champions. Chase U has won the gold again. It's funny watching it because they kind of played it up like it was the first time they'd ever won the tag titles. They just won the tag titles like earlier this year, if I recall correctly. But anyway, they won again, and they finally managed to get Ridge Holland over in NXT, which is... that's something to talk about. So we're going to discuss that today, as well as all of the other news. Tony Khan has got a lot of announcements. A big one coming up very soon. And there's actually a few announcements, and we can tell you kind of about one of them. Also an update on Penta, who went on social media yesterday. Raw ratings for Monday night. The Olympics, they're done. And so Raw did a good number. Of course, they were coming back from airing on Sci-Fi as well, so that helped. But should help Dynamite tonight as well. We got the latest on the G1. It is wrapping up here, so we'll tell you where everything is at, where everything stands, and some notes on Becky Lynch, the NXT TV report is noted, and more. If you want to text us here today, 425-780-7566. That is 425-780-7566. F4WOnline@gmail.com is the email address. I'm also F4W Online, Threads, Instagram, and Cameo. At Bryan Alvarez on Twitter/X. Sign up today and join my super followers. It's a fun time. Back in a moment, Observer Live. Granny, what's happening? What do we got for the wrestling report here today?
Talk or something.
Talk or something.
So Niven comes in, jumps on Bailey with her overweight body a couple of times, doesn't mind playing dirty, leaves Bailey on the mat in lots of pain. I found this book. It's called Limericks from the Heart.
Is this a Lanny Poffo book?
Let me finish this one. This guy's name is Lanny Poffo. And there are 335 pages in here. Can you guess what it's about?
Smoking.
Oh,
Sean
yes.
the Wizard.
Have you read it?
We read it every week for about 6 months.
When I first started.
Wow.
Why don't we start reading some questions, and we'll see if we can spur some answers out of Granny. Shall we try?
No, I don't think so.
Let's try.
Then you'll really find out how dumb I am.
Granny, did you know there was a wrestling bear?
No, and I don't care.
All right.
It's a bear that wrestled people.
I still don't care.
Okay.
Is Granny frozen?
Granny, you frozen?
No, I'm ready to read my report.
Your picture is frozen.
It is?
Yeah. Or you're doing a great job as a ventriloquist.
Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, or whatever his last name is. Paul Newman is watching this match, and he's not on Cody's side. What's the matter?
Absolutely nothing. Everything's great.
You know, Cody did say that he was looking for a manager. I think him and Paul Newman would be a...
What a handsome pair.
Yeah. A dashing duo.
That guy's a movie star, isn't he?
Since you're on the phone, why don't we just jump right into your wrestling report and such, and then we'll let you go and we'll do Facebook without you.
Can I lay the phone down and can you hear me?
You can try. Why don't you give it a shot?
Okay.
Oh, boy. It's going to be a disaster. I can already tell.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. That's all right, I guess.
Go ahead.
No, it's your segment. You're gonna read
us jokes,
or your wrestling report or whatever. I see Granny has now put the phone back up to her ear.
I'm for now.
Do you have the soaps or anything else, Granny, or are we, is that it?
I want to quit for now.
Okay. Well,
No more.
instead of suffering through the YouTube chat, click like and subscribe. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com. A lot to get into today. You know what just happened to me?
What happened?
God, yesterday the show started off with a disaster. You know what happened today?
What?
A bird got in the house. Yes.
What kind of bird?
Like just a little bird.
Little
I
sparrow?
walked around the corner and like my cat was freaking out. I was like, what's going on with this cat? This cat it's a lazy cat, but it's getting all crazy. And there's a bird in the house. Banging into the window trying to get out. The cat decided he's going to eat this bird. I was like, oh yeah? Luckily this cat's kind of blind, so he couldn't find the bird. And the bird couldn't get out because there's a glass window that it didn't understand. So this was a disaster. So I finally got the bird out, and I did get video of the bird exiting the house. I'm going to put that up for my super followers on Twitter. So if you ever wanted like a good reason to subscribe, well, that's it for you. You can watch a bird escaping my house that somehow got in here.
I'll give it to you. At least you didn't just hit it with a broom and get it out that way.
How'd the bird get in, somebody asked. Well, the door was open, and the bird came in, you see.
Do you have a wreath on the door where the bird was sitting, or just when you opened the door, it flew in like a cartoon?
Door was open. I was taking stuff outside, and the bird came in. That's what happened. So anyway, better than when that bird went into Tom's house. Maybe I'll have him tell that story today. Because at 2 Pacific, actually it's going to be earlier, 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern, is both Filthy Tom and Lance. We're doing a combo show today. 1:30 Pacific, which hopefully works out with the schedule. 1:30 Pacific and 4:30 Eastern today. Myself, Filthy Tom, and Lance Storm will be talking all sorts of things. And if you are a super follower on my Twitter, I'll put a thread up. You can ask some questions for us there as well. We'll probably do a Q&A in addition to talking about this excellent SmackDown show from Friday night.
I think
so it'll
maybe
be a
you
fun
should
time.
talk about the schedule, because you did not seem very confident there.
I'm confident, but you never know who else is going to be trying to do a show at what time.
That'll stop you?
Well, it has in the past. If we can't do it. Lance just sits there and sends angry texts to the host telling him to wrap it up. They're late. Tony Khan has made a lot of announcements since creating All Elite Wrestling. He says the biggest one yet could come at any time. Khan has sounded optimistic for a while regarding his company's upcoming media rights.
This has become the Iran attack on Israel of television deals.
He has stressed in recent weeks that AEW is, quote, on the verge of the deal being announced. When speaking to TV Insider recently, Khan said multiple announcements will be made shortly, as there are multiple aspects to the deal. He says it is a very exciting time in AEW for many reasons. We're days away from AEW All In on August 25th. Most important and exciting time in AEW's history. In addition to what is happening in the ring, which I would not say is the most important and exciting time in AEW's history. There's so many exciting things happening behind the scenes in AEW. We're on the verge of the most important announcements in the history of AEW, multiple aspects. The arrival of these announcements is imminent. We will have big news that could come at any time. Isn't that the best kind of wrestling surprise, when you know something is coming and you want it and it's exciting, but you're not sure when it's going to happen? You have the feeling it's going to happen. In this case, I have more than a feeling, to paraphrase Boston. I've been working on this for a long time. We have a great team here. The future of AEW is very bright. AEW could announce a new international stadium show. A report from Sporting News Australia, released on Wednesday, states that AEW has had well-advanced talks with venues in the country regarding running a major stadium show there. Sydney's mayor, or I guess their Alliance Stadium, Marvel Stadium, and Suncorp Stadium in Sydney, Melbourne, and Brisbane have all been discussed.
No Adelaide?
Well, here's what I can tell you, folks. Okay? That's what I can tell you. A TV deal announcement is coming soon. I know that's not breaking news, but there has to be one because their deal's almost up and they got to sign a new one. So I can tell you factually, news is coming soon. I don't know what it's going to be. I've made my prediction long ago. I predict they will get 1.4 times what they're getting now, which is very good. But of course, everyone will say that that's very bad because that's how things work. But it is good if they got 1.4 times.
You know what the other problem is?
Hold on.
Nobody's going to be able to prove it if nobody says anything.
Then
I would assume that the deadlines of the world, that the entertainment business reporters of the world may get that information, but really, with it being a private company, we will not know.
We're going to find out. Now, the other thing is there are other announcements that have nothing to do with television, and I can tell you that those
What
are
about
also
stadiums?
very likely coming quite imminently. How about that? Quite imminently.
How imminent is it?
Now, I did hear, because the rumors came out about Australia today, and I can tell you that they are talking to people in Australia. That is for sure. I don't know where they're going to go, what they're going to do, but this is like something that's in the works. And somebody from on my Twitter, in fact, said, if this is true, they want to talk to me about it because not confident in this Australia deal because the number of weekly viewers for AEW in Australia is not big, as in significantly fewer than are going to Wembley right now. So anyway, I'm going to talk to this guy and find out what he has to say. But he's out there, and he's not confident that an Australian stadium show would be a great idea. But we'll see what he has to say here.
Man, is Tony Storm that big? And I'm trying to think who else, you would need Japanese participation. But yeah, I mean, unless you got a great deal on something, that's an interesting move to make since you don't have again, who's your biggest Australian star? Tony Storm? And do you need a stadium for that? I don't know.
Matty Western Australia here, that's his actual handle, Matty Western Australia, reckons that it would be a terrible idea. But we'll see.
What does he know? He's on the western end. They're looking at the eastern end.
Well, who knows? I mean, you're going to draw from all of Australia would be the idea, I would think.
Well, yeah, but, again, that seems interesting. Again, if you get some sort of great tax break, you get some sort of great deal, and you get some backing or some, I don't know. I have no idea, but it's a surprise to hear that. It really is, unless they can tie it in with something with Japan.
So yeah, Sporting News out of Australia has mentioned those stadiums. They have never run Australia before. WWE did run Elimination Chamber in Perth and drew over 50,000. And they also drew almost around 70,000 for the Super Showdown in Melbourne in October 2018. So WWE has drawn there. They have definitely drawn there. Then we've got Penta. He went on his Twitter. He said that it was fake news, a report claiming he would be in Orlando, Florida this week. I had not heard that rumor, so don't look at me. Hadn't even heard it, much less reported it. But he did say, no more gossip. My present is AEW. Well, that's true.
Yeah.
That I can tell you one thing for sure. His present is AEW.
I don't think he cleaned anything up there.
No, he really didn't. Well, he cleaned up that he's not going to be in Orlando. Whoever reported that. It says, New Era Wrestling in El Paso also announced Phoenix would miss September 27th event due to, quote, personal circumstances. So, we'll see what happens. Nothing is official until it's official. But, and I also saw, by the way, one of those stories that takes the things that I say and writes a story about it?
Yes.
One of the stories was like Bryan Alvarez reports that people in WWE expect Penta and AEW. I never said that, not once. I said people in AEW. There's a big difference. People in WWE may as well, but I mean the people I heard from were from AEW, and they were like, I think they're out of here. So we shall see. Back in a moment with more Observer Live. Well, I'll have more from Australia here in a while, but Maddie here, Maddie Western Australia, says nobody knows much about AEW here. They need to get on free-to-air TV here, and then a nice long-term story to build over the next year, maybe involving New Japan, and then come to Australia in 2026.
Why are they doing this?
Well, you know, WWE did big business there.
Who cares? Go to Hawaii.
Hawaii?
Yeah.
Be freaking expensive.
At least you're on TV there.
Well, you are on TV
The
there.
flights won't be as bad. You can at least get New Japan guys to come over and meet them halfway.
It is amazing how rarely people run Hawaii.
Well, I mean,
if I had a promotion, that's the only place I'd run.
Well, yeah, but you'd have to live there and you'd have to make no money
Exactly.
most of the time. That's the problem. But you living there, hey, look, that's why a lot of guys love going there. They didn't make a ton of money, but the fact you got to be on the beach, you got to run a couple of days a week, and you got to be on that beach. It's really all that matters.
Monday's Raw, 1.89 million viewers and a .63 in 18 to 49. So they were about 10% in viewers and barely up in 18 to 49. And, you know, what's interesting is people seem to have forgot about this because everyone has other things that they want to yell and scream about when it comes to the ratings. But, you know, even when AEW was doing significantly better, the one thing we always noticed was whenever there's some sort of big national news story of some sort, it always hurts AEW way more than it hurts WWE. This was always the case. And, you know, if there was like, you know, something big happened in an election, whatever, it was like it would hurt Dynamite. It wouldn't make a dent in WWE or NXT or anything else. And that is still the case because the Olympics appear to have done a real number on AEW, and they did not do a real number on WWE. WWE held up just fine with the Olympics. They were down a little bit. AEW, meanwhile, had literally all-time in the history of the company record lows 2 weekends ago with both Rampage and Collision. And, you know, I know what people will say, well, different times. Yeah, I'm talking comparing to other shows in different time slots. So they're the AEW viewers, for whatever reason, were fine choosing the Olympics over AEW, and the Raw and SmackDown and NXT viewers were not. They chose wrestling. So, in theory, Dynamite should be way up tonight, and Rampage and Collision as well. So we'll find out tonight. We got a lot announced for the Dynamite show. We have got now whether or not, you know, Source Strickland versus Wheeler Yuta. I mean, I think we all know what's going to happen there. Non-title match. Young Bucks defend against the Acclaimed. That at least has question marks. We have got Mercedes defending the TBS title against Hikaru Shida. I don't think anyone believes there's a question mark there. Hangman Page facing Jay Lethal. The Claudio Castagnoli and Okada they will have a face-to-face to discuss their upcoming match that Claudio wants not at Wembley in front of 50,000 fans, but in Cardiff he wants the match. Orange Cassidy, Roderick Strong, Kyle O'Reilly. The winner gets the number 1 spot in the All-In Casino Gauntlet. We have a film by Mariah May. And we shall hear from Hook. There will be a Bryan Danielson video package, which will be a source of much discussion tomorrow. And for the first time since everything happened, Britt Baker is back in the building. Tonight, actually.
Beware, Britt Baker back in the building.
She's back. So we'll see what happens tonight.
Do they bring her out to Elton John's The Bitch Is Back, or do you think that's too sassy?
Mike Sempervive.
Well, I mean,
first off, you're a terrible person, and now we have to have Dom edit that off again.
I'm not
How many times has Dom told you, don't say that word on this
It's the
show.
name of the song.
Doesn't matter.
Effie could handle it. If Effie could handle it, Britt Baker should be able to handle it. Go out there and shove it back in their face, Britt.
Disgusted. So anyway, that's coming up tonight. And then they've...
Think the overrun's going to fall?
For reasons I cannot even explain, I don't know why any of this matters, Collision had Top Flight versus MXM.
Why are we talking about this?
Because they've moved it to Rampage. Stories like this are stories that just, they mean so much to me. Because, bro.
You think it's a Collision level up type of show? Or a type of feud?
Who cares what show that is on? But, like, they advertise it for one show, and for reasons I cannot explain, it now must be moved to a different show. Okay, great.
Because Collision is the second most watched show, and I think they've realized, wait a second, let's erase this. That's why pencils come with erasers, and move it over to Rampage. No offense to Mansoor and Massey.
We've got to make some room on the other show for I don't know what. We will find out. That's actually
Mariah May video.
The most intriguing thing to me is what is Collision going to be? Why did this match have to be moved? What was so important that it could not be on that show? I have so many questions. So many questions.
My big thing is the overrun going to fall again? How many times have they have an overrun and it's fallen? I don't
times.
understand at this point why they don't get rid of that, other than there is somebody there that believes that it is a real sport, and there's somebody in California that also believes it should be viewed as a real sport. If the damn thing drops every time that you do it, including last week, why? I just don't understand why you would do that to yourself.
I don't want to hear about the overrun. I was the one that talked about this for a long time, to the point it made people angry. But you know what's funny?
You were never wrong.
Is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
I know.
Not one person has bothered to explain to YouTube TV that we're going to go 9 minutes over every week like NXT did years ago. It's funny, I never have a problem with NXT. I never have a problem with any other show. It's only AEW. And people don't seem to care. And it's always people that don't have YouTube TV. Just record the next show. Well, that's not how it works on YouTube. You don't just record the next show. What you do is, because it's a lot more idiot-proof in a lot of ways, you just record the show. Oh, I want to watch Dynamite? I hit the Dynamite button. It records every Dynamite, but not the overrun, because they have not been alerted that there's going to be an overrun. Tony decides the week of, the day of, he send some people a text to remind them it doesn't matter. It doesn't help me out at all, okay? What would help me out is if YouTube TV knew there will be an overrun every week and just added 9 minutes to the show, but they don't. So I've missed the overrun countless times. It is my job, so I do go out of my way to find it on YouTube, okay? Most people aren't sickos. They ain't gonna. The show just ended. They will just watch something else, and that's the way it is. And before people complain, by the way, before people complain about this, I've seen the issue with other people on different services. Oh, it didn't record SmackDown because it was on Sci-Fi. Yeah, well, YouTube TV does. Because you set it to record a show. It's going to find the show. Doesn't matter what channel it's on. Doesn't matter what time it's on. I don't have to set it for 4 o'clock in the afternoon for Rampage. It's going to find and record every show. But it's going to record 2 hours. And so, hey, if you don't want me to see the overrun, I don't care. Nor do thousands of other people who don't see the overrun every week, because it just cuts off. But why am I talking about it again?
Well, LH here, _3310, why not just record the show after? It's because...
How many freaking times do I have to explain? Do you not have... I don't even know. I shouldn't even ask him. I know he doesn't have YouTube TV. Because if he did, he wouldn't ask such a stupid question.
I know. That's the thing, is it takes hours for it to actually give you a new cut version. If you missed it, it doesn't immediately, regardless of that. Forget about us and the people that have YouTube TV and that issue, and why you're doing that to us. Why are you doing that to yourself? How many times do you have to lose numbers? I mean, again, it's falling throughout the show anyway. If you have 570,000 people, why do you want to bring down your average by 50,000, or however many people then end up leaving in that 7 or 8 or 9 minutes? I don't understand that philosophy, when the whole point of that whole thing always was to give you a little extra bump at the end. If you're losing constantly, figure out timing the show. But then again, that goes back to the original thing that, hey, we don't know what's going to happen here. We might need extra time every week, even though we absolutely do not need more of that show almost any week.
Guy goes, Sling is better. No, it's not better. I've tried every one, okay? I don't like Sling. I don't like the fast forward and rewind the way that they do it. It takes forever. I don't like the fact that the video quality is not as good. I don't like the fact that there's not an unlimited DVR. YouTube TV has an unlimited DVR. You know how many times when I had Sling, like something didn't record because I had to go in my library and delete one of the 20 hours of recording or whatever stupid thing they had? Like, I don't have to deal with any of that. It'll record. I can put YouTube TV to record 500 shows. It will record all 500 of them, and they will stay in my library forever. I think like maybe 3 years later they start disappearing or whatever. But the stupid fast forward sucks. I mean, there's a lot about it I don't like. I don't care if it's cheaper. It's a tax write-off. I got to do what's best for business.
Yeah.
Although I would pay $5 more if they'd record the overrun.
You know what? We don't have to worry about you spending $43.99 for all those sports channels, though. That's something that we will.
Yeah, what do I want a sports channel for?
It's one of the
I can't watch AEW live. I'm on the West Coast. I got kids. Golly.
What did Brock? Never mind.
What's up with these people?
I know.
Everybody lives their own life and presumes everyone else is going to live their life like you're going to live. You know what? You know what a famous old saying was that people don't say enough anymore? Mind your own business. If everybody minded their own business more, we wouldn't have so many problems in this world. Mind your own damn business. Back in a moment. Observer Live. Darn it! Dagnabbit! Sky here says you're on a radio show, you want us to leave you alone? Yes! Don't need you telling me what time to watch a show. That's my personal life.
Wait a second. Just because we're on the radio, we don't get to be left alone?
Yeah. You gonna put my kids to bed? Huh? I'm doing it. Oh, kids, you gotta go to bed at 6 o'clock. Sorry, I gotta watch a live show at 8. Yeah, it's gonna go over great with the almost 9-year-old. Come on. Now, anyway, just for that, I'm gonna talk about NXT. I'll show them. So I like this show. So first we had Ethan Page coming out, and he's the champion of NXT, and he is interrupted by Joe Hendry.
Wait a second. But he may be champion of NXT. He got a main roster type of opening out there with the single shot of him cutting his own promo leading into the beginning of the show.
Yes. So, no, it's not live at 5 p.m., Yeti Pot Pie. I'm on the West Coast. It airs at 8. Where was I?
By the way, folks, Wes Lee, he passed in the hallway as well, too, who didn't want to say anything before walking to the side and Ethan walking to the ring.
Sounds like the problem was the Yeti Pot Pie. I'm going to make a pot pie out of this guy. So anyway, Ethan Page is doing his deal. He's interrupted by Joe Hendry. Joe Hendry wants a title shot. And then later, 8,000 people all want a title shot. And so they got a bunch of big announcements and matches coming up for next week. If you're a fan of NXT, which we all are, we have got contender matches. Which, of course, I thought I wrote down here, but apparently, no, I did. Wesley, Pete Dunne, and Joe Hendry.
Oh, this is so going to go off the rails at some point.
No, it's not. I barrel on through, just like last night on Bryan and Vinny. I barrel on through. There's an NXT number 1 contenders match. Wesley, Pete Dunne, and Joe Hendry. The winner of that gets Ethan Page. Okay? Then we have Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson versus Hank and Tank. Lola Vice versus Wendy Chu. And a NXT Women's Championship number 1 contenders gauntlet match, which they claimed the only names in this Tumblr are people who have never got a shot at the title. Then, of course, Sol Ruca, who got a shot at, I guess she didn't get a shot at the world title, even though she got a shot at the North American title. But anyway, Jada Parker, Carmen Petrovich, Ren Sinclair, Kendall Gray, Sol Ruca, and Adriana Rizzo.
That's all the right women to me. I'm happy with all of that.
You know what's funny is we have so many people in the chat that are so into women's wrestling. They're just like the biggest advocates of women's wrestling, yet they will not watch NXT. Brother, if you want to see women's wrestling, unless you're watching Stardom regularly, okay, then it's NXT. Now, you can watch WoW if you wanted to, but I don't recommend it.
NXT does a better version of WoW than WoW does.
They have 5 million women on this show and 5,000 women's matches every week. And granted, some of them are not very good, but you know what? Some of them are very good. It depends on who you get in the ring. So,
well, Brian, believe
just
this or
like
not,
anywhere, in fact.
Believe this or not every Tokyo Joshi Pro and Stardom and Marigold match is great.
I know.
It's amazing.
But some people do say that, but that's not true. So, I'll tell you a match that was not very good at all, which was everything I do not like about NXT. Brinley Reese and Izzy Dame.
Yeah, boy.
They are 2 women. They are green. They are blonde. They are athletic. And in the ring, they are exactly the same. And they did a bunch of moves. It was very choreographed. There was no interaction with the crowd in any way whatsoever. It was just, I do my move, you do your move. And, then the finish, which actually made me laugh and made this whole thing worthwhile. Brinley decides, in the middle of my comeback, I am going to randomly do a front walkover. It's a gymnastics move. Front walkover. Because one of her moves is a front walkover into a lariat. Okay? Guys ever seen a real good lariat? Stan Hansen or,
Bradshaw didn't have bad
JBL
ones.
or whoever. Okay, these awesome killer lariats. How killer do you think a lariat would be if they did a front walkover first? Or if this were real, okay? If this were real, and you were running at someone as fast as you could, and you were going to take their head off, but before you could take their head off, you had to do a front walkover first? So anyway, she goes through this stupid move, and Izzy Dame kicks her right in the face and hits her finish and pins her. That was for me. I liked it. Then we had another thing. I'll get over the things I don't like first. So, first off, thank God I'm not Ashanti the Adonis, this poor guy. His gimmick is that all he wants to do in NXT is hook up with the 9 million women that they have there. But nobody wants anything to do with him.
Nothing.
He shows up and they shun him and they all just walk away. He is pushed as the biggest geek. The giant fanny pack, we were talking about fanny packs yesterday, he ain't making it work. So then, and this is my favorite thing about NXT, and I mean that as in this is my worst and most hated thing ever. There is a dude sitting on a couch. He's surrounded by women. They're all into him. This makes Ashanti mad. This man is busy reading a book. Ashanti walks up to talk to them. He goes, I like reading too, thinking this will, like, get the women all excited. And they're like, I'm out of here. This idiot showed up. So they leave. So then Ashanti is angry at the man reading the book. And he ends up challenging him to a match.
There's a lot of dumb people are.
Next week on the show. The man on the couch is baffled that this guy's such a weirdo. But I guess the match is going to take place. I don't have any idea who this man on the couch was. I have no earthly idea who he was. I don't know who the women were who were talking to them. They probably, it doesn't matter because they just were there, but like, who is the man on the couch? His name was not stated. There was no graphic. He was just a fella on the couch. And then Lucha Gato here goes, they mentioned his name once. Really? Well, what was his name?
Well, that was a couple shows ago, didn't they?
Okay,
they didn't do it last night, did they?
What was his name? Nobody knows. Why is it so hard? If they go to CW and they can just get graphics, I will be the happiest man in the world. I will be the happiest guy on the earth.
If I tell you that he was the guy that all the girls were gawking at last week,
that sounds
one of the
familiar,
scenes,
but like, who is he? If I recall, the guy that they were gawking over was a guy who'd been gone forever. And I don't even remember him before he left. So
remember his name?
There's just a guy. Someone on the board finally figured out who it was.
With glasses.
He was in the breakout tournament, they wrote. You mean the one last October? Okay, thank you. That really helps. You know the thing that makes me so angry about this show as well is
that
they'll have a guy who we've seen like twice in 8 months, who before that we'd seen like once he like lost a match or whatever. They don't identify him at all. No graphic, no nothing. Okay? And then, like, Becky Lynch will show up on the show, and they'll have Becky Lynch in giant letters. Like, who is this redhead? I just don't know who this is. Who is this lady? Oh, it's Becky Lynch. God. I thought it was Lita. Okay. Well, I'm glad they identified her. But this other guy, who knows?
Have they given Stevie Turner Chiron since she's been back at all?
Probably not. We're supposed to know who she is, too.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what did I like? Well, I really like the main event. Okay, the main event was great. And I did really like Oba, Femi, and Otis for the North American title. That was a fun match. So these two, that was a meat match. You know what was the best thing about that meat match? We all know that Otis is really strong, okay? We all know that Oba Femi is really strong and he throws people around or whatever. But what we learned in this match, the one of the very first spots that they did was just the easy spot where, you do something or whatever, and then Otis just runs and like hits you with his shoulder and you take this giant bump. So, any two big guys could do that spot and one of the big guys takes a bump. This frickin' Oba Femi got hit with his shoulder and it was like someone had a slingshot. This dude flew out of the ring. Like, he flew out of the ring. So it wasn't just that Otis was doing cool big man stuff, but like Oba was bumping around for this guy like a maniac. So this match was fun. Oba Femi pinned him with a walking power bomb when Otis tried the punches in the corner. This was a fun match.
Was Oba Femi not in that breakout tournament?
He was.
Yeah. But against Tavion Heights in the final, and a lot of people like, man, Oba Femi, they really are pushing him quick. Obviously, he showed off a lot there before we saw him on TV that made them think that this guy is like, right now, let's go Lesnar-esque, and every single week, and it's going to be a long time till he gets to the main roster, thank God, but every single week you see him getting better, where when he does debut there, it ain't going to be one of those things that gets swept under the rug. It's going to be one of those big debuts, a post-Mania or something like that.
And then we had a great Trick Williams video package. He goes, me and Pete might be more similar than he realizes. Like you, Pete, I also got jumped when I was 18. 3 dudes. They were upset about something sports related, and they smashed my car window.
Football.
And they didn't know that I was inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I followed them up to their room. And admittedly, it didn't work out too well.
Caught 6 hands, 6 feet.
But he says, by the end of the year, they'd all taken L's. I figured it out. It's like, whoa, we need more of this story.
So basically what I'm taking from that is he lit him up on the football field. I don't think he ever got it back.
I don't know, man. That's
ones.
not what it sounded like to me. He figured it out, brother. They all took L's by the end of the year. He said he was going to take out Pete. And then the main event was great. Axiom and Nathan Frazier versus Chase U for the NXT Tag Team titles. You asked if I thought that Chase U was going to win. I said no.
I told you.
And they did.
Told you.
The thing that was so funny about this is, like, they're playing it up in commentary like this would be the biggest win of their career or whatever. And I'm thinking, I just saw them as tag team champions like 4 months ago. Like, this is not the first time they've ever won the tag team titles.
Yeah, but you need that commentary track because you know Riley Osborne and Duke Hudson being aligned with what's old boy there. Rich Holland is not going to last forever. Something's going to have to give him.
Well, it might, but I mean, Ridge, he wrestled well. He did not cheat. He got the win clean. He won the titles for Chase U. Yeah. Everybody was so happy. They didn't do like a turn or anything afterwards. The best part of it, they do this awesome match, okay? And whatever you want to say about Chase U, the fans at the Performance Center absolutely love these guys.
Yes.
And they're on their feet, and they're screaming, and they're jumping up and down for these near falls. And finally, Ridge gets to win, and this place goes, the building's shaking, the hard cam, everyone's going crazy. And then they start shooting off all this confetti. Like, there's so much confetti falling, you can't even see anybody in the ring. It's just like a blizzard of confetti. And everybody's happy, and everybody's having a great time. And then Booker T, he calmly says, how are we going to clean all this up? That's how they're showing.
Love it.
Back in a moment, Observer Live. Back in the show, Bryan Alvarez here, Wrestling Observer Live. Mike Sempervive, also of WrestlingObserver.com.
You did it.
What, I made it through the day?
Yes.
God. Guys, if you're a subscriber, I beg you to go listen to the Bryan and Vinny show last night. It would have been even better if you would have tried to watch it live. Tried to watch it live last night. But man, we made it through. I don't even know how. And I made it through
persistence.
this one. Yes.
And spite.
And now I got a half hour. I got to eat something real quick, and then I got to do a show with Filthy and Lance because we are doing it at 1:30 Pacific, 4:30 Eastern. We'll talk about SmackDown, and yes, a live Q&A. Should be a lot of fun. In fact, I'm going to make a post here as I get done for my super followers on Twitter if you want to ask questions. So let's do that right now. It's going to be fun. And that SmackDown show was a good show. So we'll talk about that as well. And then later on tonight, myself and Dave Meltzer. Tomorrow back here for Observer Live and the Bryan and Vinny show. And not a lot of time, and then I got to go to Wembley. So that'll be exciting. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to have some bacon and eggs. It's time for breakfast.
Yes.
We'll talk to you next time. Wrestling Observer Live.